Oh itu ya. Oh tapi dong.
Kemarin soalnya dubes Rusia bilang belum dispesifikasikan belum di Indonesia Pak.
Oh itu B2B nanti ya?
B2B.
Ya nanti ya. Nanti itu urusannya nanti urusan teknis itu. Tapi prinsipnya ya Diko.
Soal harga gas industri kemarin kan para buruh bilang harganya naik, itu gimana Pak kalau dari SDM?
Kalau HGBT nggak naik, tapi kalau memang harganya dari LNG pasti naik. Tapi memang kita lagi menghitung sekarang adalah kapasitas daripada HGBT itu kan di Jawa Barat itu ada beberapa penurunan daripada sumur-sumur. Saya sudah temui juga asosiasi, saya sudah temui juga buruh. Sekarang lagi saya mencari formulasi untuk bagaimana bisa memberikan harga terjangkau, tapi juga tidak bisa terlalu dengan harga yang mereka inginkan. Sekarang lagi kita mencari formulasi ya. Oke.
Berarti kalau minyak mentah yang Rusia itu Pertamina nanti Pak?
Dibeli oleh negara, itu G2G ya. Dibeli oleh negara ya. Oke.
Donald Trump mengonfirmasi bahwa kesepakatan dengan Iran telah resmi ditandatangani. Pernyataan "It's signed" disampaikan di tengah sorotan dunia terhadap upaya mengakhiri ketegangan antara kedua negara. Kesepakatan ini disebut menjadi langkah penting menuju stabilitas kawasan Timur Tengah dan berpotensi memengaruhi pasar energi global. Meski rincian lengkapnya belum dipublikasikan, pengumuman tersebut langsung menarik perhatian komunitas internasional dan pelaku pasar di seluruh dunia. Tim redaksi Flash Media melaporkan.
You signed the deal? The stories made in Versailles?
Donald Trump resmi menandatangani kesepakatan dengan Iran untuk mengakhiri konflik yang telah berlangsung selama berbulan-bulan. Penandatanganan dilakukan dalam jamuan makan malam bersama Presiden Prancis Emmanuel Macron di Istana Versailles. Kesepakatan ini menjadi langkah awal menuju negosiasi lebih lanjut terkait program nuklir Iran dan pembukaan kembali Selat Hormuz. Peristiwa tersebut langsung menjadi sorotan dunia karena dinilai berpotensi mengubah peta geopolitik dan pasar energi global. Tim redaksi Flash Media melaporkan.
Bonjour. You've been clear, President Trump, the United States is not going to directly pay Iran, but the U.S. is going to let the Iranians start making billions of dollars, selling oil, accessing this reconstruction fund.
Only if they're doing things right. Only if we're not doing anything. We're not putting up money. Only if they're doing things right. If they're doing things right, if people want to invest, they can invest. But they had this $300 million fund. It's only $300 billion fund. It's only if they're doing things right. Remember this also. When you talk about billions of dollars, they've had much more than $1 trillion worth of damage done. They got a long way. There'll be 15 to 20 years to rebuild what they have right now. So they have to behave themselves. If they're not behaving, they get hit again. You know, they'll be hit again because we can do it very easily. It's going to take a long way for them to build back their anti-aircraft stuff. It's going to take, and you know, the other thing I want to thank China, President Xi, I was with him, and he stayed neutral, totally neutral, and I appreciate it. And I want to thank Vladimir Putin. He was very neutral. They could have made it much more difficult for us. And I want to say it, you know, somebody would say, oh, that's terrible. He's thinking President Xi of China. Well, let me tell you, I had a long talk with him. You know, they have shoulder weapons to knock down airplanes. That it's not like the real deal, but they're accurate. They're fairly accurate. I said, I would really appreciate you're not giving or selling any of that stuff to Iran. And you know what? For the most part, he didn't. So I just want to thank them because they made it a lot better.
Can you explain, though, what the difference is between giving Iran U.S. dollars and unfreezing U.S. dollars?
Well, the unfreezing is an easy one to answer. We have taken a lot of their money, and we have their money. We have taken their money. It's not our money. It's their money. And we froze it. At a certain point in time, I guess we're going to have to give it back. You know, if we didn't give it back, nobody would ever invest in the dollar again. If you took their money, because I thought about it, you know, I'm not the most perfect person. I said to Scott, why do we keep their money? What the hell are we giving it back to them? But, you know, people from lots of nations, some nations we don't agree with, they have their money. The dollar's become very strong under me. And they don't want to have a little conflict with somebody and end up having the United States just take their money. So if you do that, you really don't have a system.
What should we expect from the second stage of the negotiation from this memorandum?
I don't know. It's a 60-day period or so. I think it's going to happen fairly on time. We've been both involved. I think they're going to want to get it done. Iran wants to get it done. They have to get back to business. And the relationship is now normalized. So I think it's going to go pretty quickly, Steve. Could go faster. Could take longer, too, but it could go faster.
There's so much interest in the text of the document. Why not release the document?
Oh, I will.
Why not release it?
Well, because I'd like to get a formal setting first before we do that. But I have no problem with that. It's a good document. Here's what it says. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. That's what it says. It won't have one. To buy, to develop, they will not have a nuclear weapon. And I would say that's about 99.9% of what I wanted, because we couldn't let that happen. You couldn't let that happen. And they won't have a nuclear weapon. Now, in addition to that, the Strait is going to be open toll-free. And it's toll-free beyond the 60 days. It's not, somebody said, oh, it's toll-free for 6. No. It's toll-free, period. When it opens permanently, it'll be toll-free. I want to congratulate our Navy because the naval blockade was unbelievable. But I'll not only release it, I'll probably have a press conference and read it to you word by word so that the press covers it accurately. Because it's a very important document, and unlike Obama, who could have destroyed the Middle East with a horrible JCPOA, it is the worst agreement. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. Mine is a wall against a nuclear weapon. I mean, I see these people say, but we already had one. That was the worst. He paid a fortune for it. We paid nothing. We don't pay. There was some statement, we're going to spend $300 billion. No, we're not. We're allowed to go and invest if we wanted to someday in the future. We have no obligation whatsoever. It could be that Iran will turn out to be successful when they have oil. But if we left a week ago, just left, before the last two attacks, it would have taken them 20 years to rebuild Iran. So, but I'll go over the document with the media in a couple of days.